Welcome to another One Mind meditation. A good night's sleep if you're on my side of the world and that you're ready to start a new day. Or maybe you're somewhere where you've had a long day and you're ready for a good night's sleep. Either way, I'm excited to share some space with you for a little while. While we wait for whoever else wants to join us this morning, find yourself a comfortable spot to lie down or sit down in. Start some slow and deep belly breathing, and very soon you'll be ready to float away on today's journey with us. I have a thought which comes from a quote, a quick thought to share with you before we get started. And the thought comes out of the Bhagavad Gita that says, through meditation, the higher self is experienced. Through meditation, the higher self is experienced. It's very clear that as humans, we have more than one sense of self. We experience ourselves in more than one way. And it can be as simple as we experience ourselves sometimes as being happy and other times as being sad. We don't have just a singular experience of the self that we are. And the quote here from the Bhagavad Gita says, through meditation, the higher self is experienced. Hey Berdine, very good morning. It's so good to see you. Awesome seeing your face. So from this little quote, there is a sense of the one self. The Bhagavad Gita calls this the higher self that we can possibly experience. And the direction we get given is that through meditation, this possibly higher self is experienced. Linda, very good to see you too. Very good morning to you. Awesome seeing you. And I want to shine a light from two different angles on this idea, on this thought of having more than one experience of the self that we are. On a very physiological, very scientific, physical level, we have two nervous systems. And sympathetic nervous system gets activated by any kind of a fear, any kind of a survival thought. We find ourselves in that sympathetic nervous system. And when that sympathetic nervous system is activated, we experience our scared self. We experience everything that fear triggers in us. We experience a sense of having to survive, a sense of fighting or running or hiding. And that is very physically in that nervous system. But when we find ourselves in the opposite nervous system, and it is kind of an either or, we're generally not in both. It's a little bit more like the accelerator and the brake pedal in your car. You can't really hit them both at the same time. It's either one or the other. And when you find yourself in parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest nervous system, you literally are experiencing a different self. A self that is not connected to fear, not in that moment anyway. A self that has more capacity to think, more creative thought. Because in the one nervous system, you don't even get access to all the creative and thinking spaces in your brain, because this part only wants to give you access to fighting or running. So from a physical level, it's actually easy to see that these two selves exist in us. And we could be either the one or the other, depending on the circumstances and depending on how we perceive the circumstances. The quote that says, through meditation, the higher self is experienced, can be seen very spiritually. That through meditation, hey, good morning Vivian, good to see you. That through meditation, we reach for a higher wisdom. We reach for that part of ourselves that is more spiritually connected, that is more connected to source. And in that space of meditation, that higher self is what we experience. And it could also be interpreted very physiologically, that as you meditate, as you take deep breaths, you shift internally from one system to the other. So I'll read the quote one more time. Through meditation, the higher self is experienced. Good morning, Karabo. Through meditation, the higher self is experienced. So when we meditate, we make that shift, absolutely. But keep in mind that every time you stop for a few minutes of conscious breathing, a few minutes of slowing down your breathing, you're already making that shift. Every time you need to be connected to more clarity, you want to make that shift from small self to higher self, a few minutes of slowed down conscious breathing will do the same as meditation does. So that is a mouthful. I speak too much sometimes. I think we should get ready for today's meditation. The theme today is finding inner wisdom. When we stop for a meditation, when we stop for a few deep breaths, when we reach for that higher self that the Bhagavad Gita speaks about, we can find answers, we can find wisdom there. And today's journey is exactly that. Can we go to that higher self space and ask some questions? And can we get answers when we are connected in that higher self space? If you're ready, you can close your eyes and let's float away on today's journey together. Starting with the first few deep breaths. Let's take a deep breath in. And release. Deep breath in. And release. Deep inhale. And release. Deep breath in. And release. One more together breath. Deep breath in. And let it go. Continue with the same breathing pattern on your own time. Slowly, deeply inhaling through your nose as you stretch out your spine and lift your head closer toward the ceiling. And on every exhale, allowing that little collapse, softening your spine, dropping your shoulders and dropping your head. Every time you allow your body to collapse, every time you allow every cell in your body to soften, there's like a physical letting go of that fight or flight nervous system. It becomes a very physical putting down of our small self, embodying the stepping out of the small self experience. Taking a few minutes of full body breathing to fully embody the putting down of the small self, and take a step closer to embodying the higher self. Is found in that surrender. The surrender of every long and slow exhale. Today's journey takes us to be deeply connected to our higher self and ask questions with an openness. Ask questions with the expectation that if we remain open, we get given clarity. Taking the last few breaths of this phase together, allowing our bodies to find softness, find ease. Let's take a deep breath in. And as you release, drop your head forward. Roll out your neck for a moment or two. Find where there is some resistance, some stiffness, and lean into those spaces. Taking another deep breath in. And as you release, roll your shoulders forward. In big, slow circles. Deep breath in. And as you release, roll your shoulders backwards. In big, slow circles. Deep breath in. As you release, focus on your spine and very gently move your spine from side to side. Finding if there's any resistance or any stiffness. Pause and lean into those spaces. One more deep breath in. And as you release, stretch, remove, or adjust any part of your body that still needs a little bit of help settling down. From this beautiful space of embodied presence, we can take that dive inside and find, as much as we can, a very physical connection to the higher self that the Bhagavad Gita speaks of. With every inhale, we'll do a short breath hold, followed by a long, slow exhale. Take a deep breath in and hold. And release. Exhaling as long and as slow as you can. Take a deep breath in and hold. Release. As you exhale, long and slow, bring your attention to the feeling of melting as your shoulders very slowly sag downwards. Feel yourself melting. Deep breath in and hold. And release. Every exhale, every slow melting helps you dissolve into an even deeper surrender. One more together breath. Deep breath in and hold. And release. Continue on the same breathing pattern on your own time. Following breath in through your nose as you inhale. Feel how the air touches the sides of your throat. Stay with the breath as you feel it flowing in through your lungs. And as you fill up the balloon inside your belly, find yourself slipping inside, slipping into your inner world. And as you hold the air inside for a few moments, feel how you are holding you inside for those few moments. Hold your breath only for what is a comfortable experience. When you exhale, make it the longest, slowest exhale. Feeling your body melt. And surrendering even more deeply. Today's journey is consciously embodying the higher self that we are. Your next big breath as you dive deep inside. Feel yourself settle into this space of higher self. This space of being spiritually connected. This part of you that is deeply connected to Source flowing through you. Take your next big breath. Today's Finding Inner Wisdom questions are very simple, but the real important ones always are. On your next big breath, as you dive deep inside, glance over your day, your days, your week, your weeks, creating a bird's eye view, looking down from your higher self at everything you do, your physical actions, the physical things that you do, the things you have to do. And as you take your next big breath, create one big picture of all the things that you physically do, all the actions you take. Take your next big breath. asking a question to our higher self, our soul, asking a question to source, requires us to consciously not use our mind to jump to answers. Ask a question in a way that you let go of the question. Not expecting an answer, especially not right now. Ask the question with curiosity. Ask the question with a sense of awe. Take a step back. Allow the question to float away. And remain open. See what comes. On your next big breath, as you dive deep inside, looking at all the things that you do, all the actions you take, all the actions you have to take. What is one thing that you'd like to do less of? As you take your next big breath, take the question down with you. What is one thing that I'd like to do less of? And simply step back. Remain open. Take your next big breath. Next big breath, the question remains the same. What is one thing that I want to do less of, and how can I make that happen? Take your next big breath. Next big breath as you dive deep inside. You've looked at all the things you have to do on a daily basis. Take down with you the next question. What is one thing I want to do more of? What is one thing I want to do more of? Take your next big breath. next big breath, take down the same question. What is one thing I want to do more of, and how do I make that happen? Take your next big breath. We'll take the last few breaths of this phase together. A few more deep diving breaths, leading us to the next space of complete ease. Take a deep breath in and hold. And release, feeling your shoulders sag. Deep breath in and hold. And release. Feeling yourself melting, dissolving. One more together breath. Deep breath in. And hold. And as you release, feel yourself slipping right into the next space. A space of complete ease. No more attention to your breathing. Find yourself completely dissolved. Just floating. You have brought yourself into this space of embodying your higher self, finding connection with spirit, being deeply connected to source, in an openness. For the next few minutes, keep floating in this open state. Remaining open to what comes up. give you complete silence and check in with you at the end of this phase. Through meditation, we find our connection to our higher self. In this space of being open to receive, being open to be shown, we can often find great clarity. if we remain open, we can find answers to the questions we have. But sometimes what we get shown is completely unrelated to the questions we had. Remain open to that also. I wish you a day of remaining open, being connected to your higher self as much as you can the whole day. When you feel that you're being drawn back down into your small self, recognize the voice of fear. And as you recognize the voice of fear, stop for a few moments. Take a few deep, conscious, slow breaths. And find yourself returned back to this higher self space. We'll take the last 5 breaths of gratitude together. With every exhale, I'll say my thank you, and I invite you to say yours. Let's take a deep breath in. Thank you for discovering this space, being deeply connected to my higher self. Deep breath in. Thank you for finding a deep love for my small self in this space. From this space, I've become available to seeing my small self as simply a scared human, trying hard to survive. Deep breath in. Thank you for the clarity that this space provides. Deep breath in. Thank you for the kindness with which I am able to hold the scared human when he shows up. One more together breath. Deep breath in. Thank you for all the beautiful humans in our circle this morning. Thank you for coming together. Thank you for making yourself available to your higher self. And by that, I feel sure you're adding energy, you're adding power to everyone in the group, holding a space for each person to find their connection to their higher self. The only thing that removes us from this space during our day is some kind of a fear. There's always some kind of a fear that triggers the scared human, that triggers the small self to go into survival mode. And it almost feels like it reaches up, grabs you by the toes, and pulls you right back down. I wish for you a day in which you find it effortless to stay in your higher self. But when you feel that small self tug you all the way back down, have a space of kindness. And sometimes we have to take a step down, sit with that small self, and hold it for a while until he or she feels less scared. And and that allows us to be able to step up into our higher self again. Have a beautiful day. Beautiful messages. Thank you, Berdine and Linda and Maggie. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I'll be back here with you again tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.